Just remember, no cussing and speak loud.
Guys, we're recording.
Oh, hey, I'm Mike Anderson, and I'm over here at Abstract Security. I head up partnerships, and as an Air Force guy, I wanted to wish everyone out there Happy Veterans Day.
And I'm Charissa Hightower. I'm an account executive at Abstract Security, and from one Navy veteran to another, Happy Veterans Day.
So I guess one of the things that we ought to do is explore the different journeys that maybe both of us have had, making that transition out of military and into corporate America, as they would call it.
Yep.
So why don't you tell us, how did your journey go? How was that transition?
Yeah, so the transition's tough. I think a lot of veterans would agree. It's a pretty rough transition. You live a certain life, and you're trained to do a certain thing. And I think that, especially coming from being a 9/11 vet, we were chasing terrorists, and you get out and you're like, well, what's this skill set that I have that I've been taught for the past 8 years? Like, how am I going to translate that into corporate America? Being an Intel analyst and, all the different technical trainings that you've had, right? So that was definitely a rough transition at the beginning. And then I just kind of fell into, cyber was up and coming, fell into it, ended up at the AFSR down at Lackland Air Force Base.
That's Air Force, right?
I think so, yeah. But we were down there, they trained us, got my network shops down there, and then it just kind of really rolled from there. The vendor space was growing, people were realizing what Intel was and how important it was, and really just, I call luck, a little bit of it, just kind of lucked into the right crowd, the right time, yeah. So how about you?
Similarly, I think for me that the challenge was more around the culture, that unity that you're used to.
Family.
Yeah. And, my first job was at Bank of America, and they had really good unity, really good culture, and that made the transition a little bit easier. But I do miss that. And then as we did on the military side, you had that certain type of training, which meant, you're qualified, you can do these things.
Yep.
So it was a little bit different in the corporate America. There is those training, but the backgrounds, I think, right? How I was trained versus how someone in cybersecurity was trained, really marrying those two up. But it all worked out, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Here we are.
We're resilient.
Here we are.
Air Force is resilient.
I would say the Navy is more resilient, but,
So what about challenges or advice? Moving on from the challenge piece, what piece of advice would you give to someone that is making the transition, whether it be any of the branches, and for that matter, maybe even some of the government civilians that are coming into corporate America?
Yeah, I think, find your people, right? There's a lot of good groups out there now that are focused on that. A lot of ex-veterans that are together and like trying to do those kind of things and that share the same background and that same community feel and just I would say look for a group. They're all over the place, like on LinkedIn and for things like that, and just in your local community, because you'd be surprised like how many people are out there that are networking.
Even some of the recruiters specialize in it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say the same. It is that interconnectivity, and look for mentors, I think, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Charissa would probably be a great mentor. I would do an okay job, I think, but mentors are really important, I think, inside of what we do on space. Hey, how do I transition this, training, or what does this acronym mean? What is the common theme across corporate and the military side?
Yeah.
Mentorship would be really key as well.
I agree.
I said you would be a good mentor. I said something nice.
That's corny.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
How is that corny?
All right, I have to stop here.